All right, so what we're going to look at here is we are going to look at what's called the distributive property. Distributive property is pretty easy. I will reference it as the rainbow property, and you'll see why when I do examples. So with the distributive property, you need to multiply through to all, not just the first, all terms inside the parentheses. And the last thing, when you're done and as you're multiplying, remember to check your signs. So the distributive property helps us with simplifying expressions. If you remember when I talked about simplifying expressions, I said, you are finished or it is simplified when there are no like terms or parentheses, and that's where this comes into play. So let's look at an example. If we have 4 parentheses, x plus 3. If we think order of operations tell us to do what's inside the parentheses first. Well, we can't take x plus 3 because they're not like terms. So we can't combine x and 3 because they're not the same thing. So this is where distributive property comes into play to simplify the expression. If we remember when we talked about multiplying, a number next to parentheses means multiplication. So we need to distribute the 4 to the x, and we need to distribute the 4 to the 3. This is why you may hear me call it the rainbow property, because we draw rainbows to show what we need to distribute the number to. So 4 times x will just give me 4x. Plus 4 times 3 gives me 12. We cannot combine these, they're not like terms, so I am done. That's all the distributive property is. We're just multiplying through to all terms. We're just taking this number on the outside and we're multiplying through. Let's look at another example. -5 times 2x minus y. We have a negative on the outside. If we look inside the parentheses, we cannot do this operation. We cannot take y from 2x because they're not like terms. So we need to distribute. But when we distribute, we're distributing the -5 all the way through. So we're actually taking -5 times 2. Negative times a positive is a negative. 5 times 2 is 10. So we'll have 10x, negative 10x. And then we're going to take the -5 times the minus y. So we have a negative and a negative, turns this into a positive. 5 times y is 5y. Boom, we're done. All right. Let's look at another example. I have 3z plus 2x plus y. And then on the outside, times 6. This time the number's on the right. Remember, a dot means multiplication. So this time I'm going to distribute my 6 this way. And remember, we distribute to all terms. So we're going to do 6 times y. 6 times y is 6y. 6 times 2 is 12. So 12x. And 6 times 3 is 18. So 18z. That's how we do that one. So if we see multiplication happening here, we just need to make sure we distribute. But for the most part, we will be distributing forward. And you need to also make sure you check your signs. So let's do one more example here. Let's do 4 times, let's go -8x minus 2y plus 6z. All right. We know we can't combine these, so I'm going to distribute. Remember, draw my rainbows. The reason I recommend you to do this is it reminds you to distribute this number to everything. So 4 times -8 is a -32x. 4 times a -2 would give us a -8y. And 4 times a +6 would give us a +24z. So that is the distributive property. We distribute, boom. Sometimes in the end, we can distribute and still have to combine like terms. But that will be for a later time.